waking up, staying awake, and figuring out who I'm not, right? That's
Right. Well, my experience is that who we really are
yeah,
isn't any of our stories at all.
yeah,
That we have stories, but we're not any of our stories. Just like Zen and Buddhism, they say we're not any of our thoughts.
right,
Our thoughts, of course, are stories. You string a few thoughts together and you've got the arc of someone's life.
right,
And as long as we're lost in the idea that our stories define us and confine us, and then we're run by them.
yeah.
We're kind of like, in a way, kind of like running a program.
Right, and the challenge with that is, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, Steve, is when we're identified with our story, we don't know we're identified with our story. That's sort of the paradox. You know, I'm busy thinking I'm this human doing, until I've gotten out of balance, and then I wake up. In your case, 18 years old, whoa, I'm so far out of balance. Oh, who's this other being? Who's talking? That, you know, what's going on here? So we have these periods of awakening. And I think what enlightenment is, at least, you know, because it is available for everyone, it's our natural state, it's just a series of moments put together that were present to the essence of who we really are. Now, I think the function of your book, as far as I can tell, is it's a tool to help people stay connected to their divine self, right? And naming some of the parts, some of the pitfalls, some of the things that we encounter. It's a great reminder when we're asleep how to wake back up and stay on the path. Talk a little bit about some of the more important places on your journey. Let's do post. I figured out that I was medicating with metaphysics and alcohol, and I really have a great sense of who I am. Your more awakened self. What do you find useful and valuable as a person, you know, a two-legged running around, right, who drives a car and shows up and does things? Because this is something that can be very confusing for a lot of us. This idea that, you know, we do things in the world, yet we're spiritual beings. You know,
Right.
talk a little bit about that.
Well, I think one of the misnomers that's pretty common is that somehow being enlightened or living from an awakened place really looks any different. You know, Jack Kornfield, the great Zen writer, has a book out called After the Ecstasy, The Laundry.
Yeah, right. Chop wood, Getty water.
So, you know,
Right.
it's a funny kind of idea in a
Yes.
way, but
I love
this place where we can get really high on God and really feel at one with the universe is this amazing, wonderful place, and I highly recommend it. But the next day, you wake up and the kids are screaming, or the
Yeah.
laundry needs doing, or the dishes need doing,
Yeah.
and it's so easy to fall back into this, I'm a victim, something's wrong here, if only someone else did it different then I'd be fine, and we let go of taking responsibility for
Well,
our moment-to-moment experience.
Right, we become separate again. Suddenly there's a sense of separation, which in simple terms I think is what, you know, a good context for me. My assistant slash the ruler of my whole world, basically, I couldn't do what I do without her. We wrote something on our blackboard the other day, that, and it's a Zen saying, that no circumstance is any greater than any other.
Yeah, that's a powerful saying.
Well, right, because we are junkies. Let's face it. I mean, that's what your book is called, Drunk with Wonder. We're junkies for the experience, and we like to feel good only, always, ever.
And I think I want to make clear that in Drunk with Wonder, I speak at some length about adrenaline,
Yeah.
which I believe is pretty much the original high,
Yeah.
and that we're all addicted to.
Yeah.
And I'm going to even go so far as to say, I don't think it's wrong. I don't think it's wrong to be a feeling junkie. After all, that's why we're on the planet. That's why we embody. If we want to be just mind, just spirit, without any physical experience, you know, we can do that with meditation. We can go inside and be really silent and still. But it seems to me the most fun we can possibly have is to be as awake in the moment with as much gratitude and joy and appreciation and passion as we can possibly let come through our ever-loving hearts.
Right, and be willing to go down the other side of the mountain, you know, right? Because everything that's subject to arise is subject to cessation. So if you're feeling this experience of joy, when I'm there, my tendency as a human being is to get attached to that. And anything that's not that, even in my most enlightened knowing, when I'm identified with my personality, I have grief. Where did my joy go? Oh, I'm not in joy. I'm not in joy, something must be wrong. I better fix it, let me go meditate, right? Something's wrong. We immediately think that that's wrong versus including it all.
Yeah, we have stories that certain emotions, for example, are good and many emotions are not good. And I say this particularly for men. I work as a feelings coach, specifically with men. Many of us have really locked most of our emotions down, that from a very early age, kindergarten, we were told basically to sit down and shut up, sit in a row, no, you can't move your body, no, you can't fully express yourself, etc., etc. And you know, when we're really little kids, our abstract reasoning hasn't even kicked in yet. It doesn't kick in until we're, puberty, if we're lucky. I know mine didn't kick in until several months ago, probably.
Yeah, I heard in the United States puberty lasts now until 46. Is that right? I'm getting nods. Yes, right. So good luck with that, everybody.
And heading quickly to 50.
Right. We're pushing it.
So what we find ourselves with when we're little kids is we're embodied. Think about a little kid who's fully expressed in the world. If they're happy, everybody knows it. If they're unhappy, everybody knows it. Right. They move energy through their bodies.
Right.
And they're fine.
That's right. My analogy is that you see a kid in the grocery store on aisle 1, he's screaming and crying because his mom won't let him have a Lucky Charms. Aisle 3, he's fine.
Right.
Different story, because it moved up and out of his body. What I'm hearing you say is what we do is we interrupt that process through a dynamic that we learned, I don't know, socialization, right? Where
Absolutely.
we feel and somebody says, nope, don't feel that. That's not okay to feel that. So there's a bunch of people, and you talk about this in their book, there's a bunch of us walking around with all these feelings shoved inside. What happens to us?
A lifetime of feelings shoved inside, and we wind up with dis-ease.
Yeah.
And this is medical establishment awareness at this point, that much of our dis-ease can be traced back to emotional trauma that's never been allowed to be run out.
That's
I'll tell
right.
you a secret, an open secret. Any emotion, any feeling fully felt shifts. I mean, how many times have you heard or even perhaps imagined yourself saying, you know, I can't cry. I'm not going to go there because if I start, I don't think I'll ever stop.
Yeah.
And the secret is, if you do go there, I guarantee it will shift.
Yeah, because everything's changeable, right? Nothing is permanent.
And so emotions really are energy.
Yeah.
They're energies. If you think of spirit as giving us life through our hearts, and our hearts are a prism, and out of that prism come all the colors of the rainbow.
That's what feelings are.
And feelings are those colors. Well, none of those colors are wrong. There's a difference, though, between feeling them in a way that impinges on someone else and on feeling them in a way that's healthy and responsible.
That's right.
And we take care of ourselves.
And I call that feeling nothing more than... Oops, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. I'm Ryals Maryanne Comaroto. Go feel yourself.